Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, here I am, the triumphant return of the Angry Bootneck to the digital space. Huzzah! I told you, didn't I? What did I tell you? Better the devil you know. Just like the president of Russia, just like Boris Johnson, and just like Suza. You better the devil you know. Soon as my nemesis left, she seems to have been replaced by a large Indian man who has been conquered deep in my knotted balloon for the last 10 days. What a bastard. Yes, I did get banned online, killer. I've had 3 strikes in the last 3 weeks, but 2 of them I won the appeal on. So I managed to dodge most of them, but the last one hit me square between the nutsack. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing. Ultimately, as I keep telling you, right, we have to. We're all dependent on the whims of the woke fascists that rule the world nowadays. So there's nothing to do about it, and there's no point getting upset about it. I did win 2, so I can't be too. Considering how overly and aggressively tyrannical they are, 2's not bad, really, is it? 2 out of 3. That's like that's like my ambitions when I was a kid, you know. When I was 15, all I ever wanted to do was get a green beret, become a millionaire, and lose my virginity. And I got a green beret, and I lost my virginity at the age of 35. So I've managed 2 out of 3 there as well. 2 out of 3 is not bad. 2 out of 3 is not bad. So I'll take that. Ultimately, we know that the fascists, the woke fascists, could basically do whatever they want. So I think 2 out of 3 is quite good. I've been sitting here thinking they were going to send the fucking SWAT team round and then dry bum me over that bar while Suza watched and slapped a fucking wet lettuce. So considering I haven't got a hole in my head, I think I'm doing quite well. I can't be too upset about the way things have gone, because they could have just instantly banned my channel a year ago, and I would expect them to do that. Because unlike so many of you and the general public, I'm not labouring under the delusion that A, we can actually win this fucking war, and B, the people that are in charge aren't full-blown totalitarian fascist cunts. So I can't complain. I'll take whatever scraps the degenerates that rule the world want to give me. Yeah? I'm amazed Klaus Schwab hasn't nailed me to that fucking floor and is currently conquer deep in my rusty sheriff's badge right as we speak. Klaus on one end and George Schwab on the George Soros on the other, ragging me senseless for the viewing pleasure of the fucking YouTube community. So I'm all right. I think I'm doing quite good, considering. Could be a lot worse. Controlled opposition. You know what's funny? I've actually had people have a pop at me about that. They say that all the time, don't they? Some bloke said, "Oh, you Paz and we got a problem." This was like 3 years ago, I think. He said, "You Paz and we got a problem all appeared at roughly the same time. So you're all controlled opposition." I was like, I don't know what to tell you. People that are that out there are just as daft as the woke are. And the woke will believe any insane conspiracy if it backs up their worldview. And the very, very far right are the same. Like, if you don't agree with them on everything, you're a fucking paid shill. I hate the way everybody's a shill nowadays. Everyone's a shill or a grifter. As usual, the commies are worse. Because the thing with far right, full-blown racial collectivist, everyone's controlled opposition, they're rare as rocking horse shit. Like, they're like probably less than 1% of the population, but the woke are about 10, 15% of the population, which is what I keep telling everyone. And that's why I've gone from being liberal, centre-left, to reluctantly supporting the Conservatives all the time, because you have to go with who needs an hand the most. And we're losing, right? The woke are winning, even though they're only about 10% of society. So that's why I'm now holding my nose and going all in with Trump and everybody else. Not because I lean naturally. I'm naturally a very conservative person. I'm not even religious, which in America was 90% of the reason I never considered myself to be a Republican, but I am now, because I'm supporting the guys who need a hand. The world's fucked up, man. But grifting is one that really irritates me. Every time I disagree, with a full-blown communist on Twitter. They say you're a grifter. It's like, what? You don't think that people sincerely disagree with you? Because that's what a grifter is, isn't it? A grifter is someone who really, they don't even believe what they're saying. They just say to try and make some money. And the two issues I have with that is, one, if you want to make money, you'd be woke, right? Because if you do what I do, they throw you off YouTube and they throw you off Facebook and they throw you off Twitter. If you're trying to make money, you act woke. So I would argue that the grifters are always left-wing. The snake oil salesman knows what sells, doesn't he? And in this case, it's being woke, because if you're right-wing, you get fucking banned. So it's a bit ridiculous to be a grifter on the right, isn't it? In fact, it's not just a bit ridiculous. It's as solid as fucking Diane Abbott's clogs, right? It's rock solid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If you're going to be a grifter, you're going to be woke, aren't you? Because they're the only ones who are allowed to talk to a full audience. And secondly, disagreeing with a fucking communist doesn't make you a grifter. It makes you normal. As soon as you talk to these people, they go, oh, grifter, you're a grifter. Ash Sarkar, oh, you're all grifters. No, everybody sincerely disagrees with you because you're a fucking idiot and your ideology is horse shit. And everybody with an IQ above room temperature fucking knows it, you thick bitch. That's why. My ban was ridiculous as well. That video I made about Owen fucking Jones was on YouTube for months. For months. And then they go, oh, yeah, we've got to ban you now, you cunt. Like, well, it's been all right for the last 6 months. Why is it suddenly an issue now? In fact, I'll get you a link in case you want to see it. Because I put it up on Rumble. Yeah, here it is. Deluded communist is smug while wrong. That was my video that I put up on YouTube. Probably it was about 3 or 4 months ago. There it is anyway in the chat. You can watch it on Rumble if you want to see it. That's what got me shit canned. The best grifter is Macron after getting the UK to give France 500 million. That is ludicrous, that, isn't it? That's just fucking outright bribery. Outright bribery, because they don't do the job. But what can we do? What can we do? We've got nothing. They've got us over a barrel. We're not willing to do what's required by getting the Navy on it and filling the fucking channel with warships. So that's what we've got to do. We've got to pay the French. Ultimately, I agree with Peter Hitchens on that one. I'm not praising the frogs. They're just doing, you can't blame them for doing what's in their own self-interest, can you? Any capable leader does what's in their own nation's self-interest. You can't have a pop at him for that. If I was a Frenchman dealing with my own total clusterfuck, it's not like France is going, well, is it? This is going to be a rarity for the Angry Bootneck. I'm going to defend the French, right? That's a fucking first. But you can't blame them, can you? Like I said, you can't really blame the migrants for sneaking into England. If you understand reality and common sense, you can't blame the people for doing what's best for them. You've got to blame the twats that are in charge. If I was the French president, I'd be trying to take the piss out of the British, because you've got to look after yourself. That's the only argument I've ever made. Merkel should have been looking after the Germans, Macron should have been looking after the frogs, and the British Prime Minister should be looking after the fucking British. But we're living in this ridiculous globalist world where the Irish are a great example. They've got a nice bulwark to their east and a massive sea to the west, an ocean. So they're nicely situated. If the Irish put a tiny bit of effort in, they wouldn't have to take any fuckery. But their Prime Minister acts like he's got to worry about the entirety of the world. So the Irish Prime Minister's not sitting there going, oh, is this good for Ireland? He's going, oh, is this good for fucking Somalians, is it? Is this going to be good for Eritreans? Who gives a shit? And again, to be clear, I'm not being prejudiced against anyone there. The Somalian president should be looking out for the Somalians. But as I said, if you put it in capitalist terms, it just shows how ludicrous it is. Because nobody who has got a hole in their arse thinks that it would be logical for the head of Apple, just as another example, to be sat there at the next boardroom meeting going, yeah, but this new product we're releasing that's going to sell millions, that might be harmful to Samsung. You know what I mean? If you think of it like in basic common sense capitalism, the way our leaders behave proves that there's some sort of really, really fucked up globalist cabal running the world, doesn't it? Because if you put it in terms like that, it makes sense. Samsung don't sit there going, yeah, but are we doing what's right for Sony? Are we? Are we doing what's right for Sony, lads? Coke and Pepsi. Oh, come on, don't release the new Pepsi. It might hurt Coke in some way. That's our world. The world leaders are like that. They only care about the globe. So they think because the people in the third world have got a pretty shit life, we have to worry about making their lives better, even if it makes our own citizens' lives way, way worse. The mayor of fucking Middlesbrough should just be worrying about Middlesbrough. But our leaders, for some reason now, they're obsessed with looking after the entire globe. It must be some sort of like deranged arrogance and overconfidence. Like they think they can fix the world, these cretins. They think they can fix the world. Frankly, people like us that read and know our history, we're amazed that we're doing as well as we are. We're just amazed that we're not living in mud huts, tilling the fields. And we're pleased about that. We're like, yeah, we're not doing too badly. And yet, these maniacs think it could be so much better because they practice some ludicrous, idealistic fantasy. They think it could be so much better. Why aren't we doing this and this and this? Fucking pixie dust and unicorns. Pragmatic people sit there going, how the fuck have a load of chimps in clothes managed to build a society like this where all we have to do is go to work for like 35 hours a week and then we can use money that we earn instead of having to barter. Do you know what I mean? We don't have to do 70 hours a week tilling fields like we did 1,000 years ago. 80 hours a week, back-breaking labour, dawn till dusk. And then if you needed anything other than what you grew yourself, you could barter for it. Hey, mate, I'll give you 12 carrots for that fucking candlestick. That's how we used to live. So people like us that have read history books and know where we are and are pragmatic, we say, pretty good system, this. Pretty good system, works for nearly everyone. You do a little bit of work, like 35, 40 hours a week, and then the rest of the time's your own. And even if you're just working class, you've got central heating and a duvet and a memory foam mattress and hot and cold water and Pepsi Cola and fucking cold beer and refrigeration, electricity and internet. We're like, that's amazing. Considering we're warlike chimps, that's amazing. And yet these freaks, these arrogant globalist freaks, look at it all and go, this is shit, the system, get rid of the system and replace it with a system that's never, ever existed ever in the world, ever. Brilliant. It's not like they haven't had 50 attempts, is it? It's not like they haven't had 50 attempts to usher in the communist fucking utopia. And every time they do it, mountains of skulls. But here we are, having another run around. Those who don't remember the history are doomed to repeat it. And we're going around again and again and again and again. And here we are again. 2023. Everyone's going balls in with fucking communism. Brilliant. I'm sure it's going to work out brilliant. Brilliant. I told you, personally, I've had enough now. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking, like, do you know what I mean? I don't want to work anymore. I like going to work. It's good for my mental health. It's good for my physical health. Like getting out the house, like socializing with people, like getting into a routine. But even I'm getting pissed off. So imagine all of the millions of people that are out there that are on the cusp of thinking, do you know what? Now the state's just taking the piss out of me too much. They don't understand how humans are so prone to resentfulness and bitterness. They don't realise like how many millions of people are just going to go, you know what? If you keep taking the piss out of me, I'm going to wedge my thumb firmly up my arse and do what all of these other chances are doing. If you're just going to keep throwing millions of Afghans in hotels, in 5-star hotels, and they get to sit on their ass watching TV and eating, getting room service, while I go and carry bricks around on a building site all day, I'm going to jam my thumb up my fucking ass and do nothing. Just stubbornness. Like, I know my quality of life will get much worse if I stubbornly refuse to do any more work and stop paying my wage, stop paying my taxes. But I'm not close to just rapping. And I like going to work. But even I'm annoyed. So imagine if you're just a labourer on a building site and you don't like it. Imagine how close you've got to be to just going, do you know what, I've had it. And if everybody does that, we have had it. The entire system collapses. Governments have got no money. Governments have got zero money. Public servants, zero money. Any public server is a non-producer. Even if you work, firemen, coppers, nurses, they're not producing anything. They're taking out of the public purse. The people that really matter are the producers, the capitalists, the ones chasing a buck. And if those people go, I've had enough, I'm moving my business abroad, or the employees say, you're taking the piss out of me, you've done it for 35 years, I'm just quitting. I don't care. I'll scrape on by, happy that I'm not getting the piss took out of me by you cunts. If that happens and everybody gives up en masse, we are done as a country. We're done as a country. So they need to, well, they're not going to. I was just saying, they need to walk it back, but they won't. So we are done eventually. It's just how fast it happens, which is, as I've said, why I'm what they call an accelerationist at this point. I think we're better off pulling the bandage off, which is what I keep telling you a lot as well. Now the Tories are trying to play. They've took the piss out of us for years, and now they're going all in on this fictional conservatism again. So 4 years being a left-wing daft cunt, and now they're going, oh yeah, we're going to sort out the immigration problem. It's fiction. It's fiction. They're doing it to take the piss out of you. They're doing it so you'll do what we always do, and then go, right, I'm going to have to vote Conservative in the next election because you just can't let Labour in. Fuck them. Fuck them. Don't vote Conservative. I don't care if they fix the immigration problem or they make a dent in it. They make a dent in it. They won't fix it. Don't vote Conservative. We need to pull the bandage off. If we vote for Conservative to avoid Labour, we're just prolonging our misery. Again, Peter Hitchin was right. He was saying this 11, 12 years ago on Question Time, and I was watching it thinking, I like Peter, but he's just too much of a miserable bastard. And I went out there and voted for Conservative. I voted Cameron in, just like Tony Blair. I voted Boris Johnson. I've had enough. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Don't vote for the Conservatives. Let Labour get in. Better rip the plaster off. Let Labour get in. They'll have about 2 years, 3 years, and they will totally fuck everything up. And then it'll kick off. And then maybe by about 2028, 2029, maybe you might actually get a right-wing government that's willing to do what's required. That'll get all children of men and actually start aggressively deporting fucking people. But it ain't going to happen if you vote Conservative. So as I keep telling you, you got to be black-pilled. You got to be black-pilled. You got to prepare as best you can. You've got to steel yourself for what's coming. And you've got to firmly stay away from the Conservative Party. I mean, I can't bring myself to vote Labour. If I was a full-blown accelerationist, I'd go and vote Labour. But I can't bring myself to vote Labour. Fortunately, you don't need to go and vote Labour. You just have to sit on your hands. And Labour are going to win the next general election by a landslide. I've been telling you this for years, and this is what's going to happen. I said about 10% of the Conservative voters will sit on their hands, and that'll give Labour a landslide. But I think it's going to be higher. I think it's going to be 10, 15, maybe 20. Just talking to people around the bazaars, they all feel like me. The normies are still going to vote Conservative, and there's not enough of them for us to get on board with another party at this point. But after 3 or 4 years of Labour, they will. When they realise that the Tory vote's completely collapsed, and people like us just will not vote for them ever again, they will get on board with the new party because they realise they have to die. The Tories have to die. Peter Hitchin said it 11 years ago, and he was right. They've got to go. Don't fucking vote for them. Something else will rise from the ashes. Yeah, what other party? When everything goes completely to shit, when Labour get in and accelerate the programmes that they're doing, when everything goes completely to shit and we're back to just like it always does, it's just history repeating itself. Like when Thatcher came off the back of 4-day working weeks and strikes and unburied dead and shit in the streets because the bin men weren't even emptying the fucking bins. When that happens, it'll all kick off. And then something will rise from the ashes and they'll get in and they'll be right wing. That's what's going to happen. So, well, I'm not saying Labour is loose. I'm saying it's got to be much, much, much worse before it gets better. So let them get to it. Prepare as best you can and fucking prepare for the worst. Because we're in the shit. As I said, I've been black-pilled for a long time. It doesn't get better before it gets much, much, much worse. It needs to kick off. And people won't stop watching Netflix and get off their asses until it gets much, much worse. You need to have rolling blackouts, food shortages, no Netflix, internet's off, gangs in the streets, grooming gangs fucking times 50, mobs, total chaos. That's what's going to come. And fair enough. I can't wait for it to come quick enough. It's just fucking brilliant. Brilliant. Who cares? Right, should we do some news? Surprisingly, the Hamburg shooting wasn't one of Alan's boys. So you would assume he'd been in the queue at Alan's legendary snack bar for fucking months. Like he's there trying to buy his halal chicken and he's just been in the queue for 6 weeks. So he loses his rag and goes off it with a fucking grenade launcher in a public place. Amazingly, wasn't one of Alan's boys. Apparently, Philip F. Obviously, they gave you his name. If he was called or whatever it is, you know, I don't want to pick the M word. Everybody knows that one. You know, 9 in every 10 fucking kids get that one. Isn't that weird? How, like, because he's revered as a prophet, they all call the sons Mighty Mo. Christians don't all call the kids fucking G-Boo, do they? 9 out of 10 kids in England aren't called G-Boo. So why do they all call the kids Mighty Mo? I don't understand it. I really don't understand that. Was he Welsh? Yeah, it did sound very Welsh, didn't it? So Philip went completely off it and blasted a load of Jehovah's Witnesses. Chaos in Germany. It's hard to get upset about, isn't it? Because they started the rot in Germany. They're the ones who ushered in this fucking brave new era when Frau Merkel let in literally millions of unvetted fighting age men. So I really struggle to feel any sympathy for the Germans. But it is what it is. I'm pleasantly surprised that it wasn't one of Alan's boys. So there's that. If you think it was, don't make us look silly and keep going on about Mighty Mo and the religion of many, many pieces on Twitter. Because for a change, just for a change, it wasn't. I will say as well, it disproves nothing, does it? They'll all be crowing on Twitter now going, oh my God, it was a white male. Just look at the death statistics from the last 20 years. Look at the death statistics from terrorist attacks in Europe in the last 20 years. It will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. And they're still to this day going, oh yeah, far right, far right terror, Go on then, silly bastard. Tell me the death toll. Anyone on Twitter who goes, those white men, far right terror. Go on then. Tell us your death toll. How many have they killed in the last 20 years? Have they hit 3 figures? Nah. The bloke who twatted Joe Cox wasn't a right-wing terrorist. He was full-blown mentally ill. Apparently used to scrub his skin with scouring pads and bleach in the middle of the street. Read about him. Local nutcase, nothing to do with politics. By definition, he wasn't a terrorist. So Coxie, there's one that we don't take credit for. Who else? All the ones that they blame are all loonies, fruitcakes. So by definition, it's not terrorism. And I had an argument with some thick twat on Twitter about that. Oh yeah, terrorism. Why is it when the white man does it, it's not terrorism? Because terrorism's got a dictionary definition. And it's usually not. Timothy McVeigh got called a terrorist. Yeah, you know why? Because Timothy McVeigh was trying to exact political pressure or change via the medium of extreme violence or intimidation. That is the dictionary definition of terrorism, you thick, woke, Guardian reading spunk Bowser. That is it, Owen Jones. That's it. You should know this, you're a journalist. If you're not trying to enact political change, it isn't terrorism. It has to have a political motive. That's how it works. If a black man goes on a rampage in Chicago on a weekend, probably happening as we speak, and shoots 25 people dead, that's a mass shooting, but it's not an act of terror. When Dylan Roof shot a load of people for no reason because he's a fucking weirdo, hardcore racist, if that was why he did it, he wasn't trying to enact political change, was he? He wasn't going, I really, really, really think McDonald's should do breakfast until noon, and because they aren't, I'm going to shoot all these black people. So it's not terrorism. It's not. Here's a good example by a minority. Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech was carried out by an ethnic minority, killed about 20 people. Nobody said it was terrorism, because it isn't. Because he wasn't trying to enact political change. He was just a fucking fruitcake. It's that simple. So if you see some thick twat gobbing off about it on Twitter, tell them to pick up a fucking dictionary. It really is that simple. No political pressure, no terrorism. IRA, terrorism. Paddy McDogshit fills his jackets with rat poison and explosives and blows himself up in Weatherspoons because the fucking closed the bar 20 minutes early. Not terrorism, right? Very, very straightforward. You thick bastards. Easy. Fucking Hamish McTavish blows himself up outside the Iron Brew factory because he doesn't like the new sugar-free recipe. It isn't terrorism. Now, if you took a load of hostages and said, I demand that you change the fucking recipe and the British government get rid of the sugar tax, then it's terrorism, right? Fucking easy. So there's loads. I can reel them off. 9 out of 10 terrorist acts committed by people that aren't regulars at Allen's world famous snack bar aren't terrorism. They're just wankers. Same as if I go up and chop a load of people up with a samurai sword for a laugh. What did you do that for? For a laugh. I've just watched The Seven Samurai. I thought it was a fantastic film. I thought, fuck it, I'll go and kebab some people outside the shops. Not terrorism. Easy. It's that simple. Anyway, I'm going on. Tell them. When you hear the argument on Twitter, fucking tell them. Because I'm sick of telling them. I'm blue in the face from telling them. People don't know anything. What else is going on? Regulators take over. The economy's fucked. It's fucked. I've got money in the stock market as well, and I'm gutted because I don't want to take it out because it's way less than it was 2 years ago when the Orange God was in charge. But I just think it's going to get much, much worse. Who cares? I'm going to tough it out. Fuck it. Our economy's totally shagged. And America's way better than Europe. Europe is fucked. Like, I don't know if you guys really pay attention or read The Economist, but Europe's totally fucked. They are completely out of ideas. They're just like, what do we do now? They're not making any money. They're not producing fuck all. Every week, the tax bill lessens, the tax receipts lessen, and the bill gets bigger. Every week, more fighting age men pour into Europe to become a drain on the state. Hardworking people from the past generations, i.e. who actually knew something about putting a shift in, they die. Every week it gets worse. And there's not a lot we can do about it. Europe's fucked. At least in America, they still put a shift in. Europe's completely done. I don't even know what we're going to do. I have no idea what we're. I just, like I said, I think it's going to massively kick off and everything's going to go. I think we're circling the drain. And this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Let's see. All these stories about Trump. If they're not talking about the Orange God, they're not making any. They're not generating any clicks, are they? It can be difficult to keep track of the ex-president's legal battles. Here's what you need to know. No, I don't need to know any of this shit. I don't need to know any of the bollocks that you fucking write, BBC. Because you're just commie activists talking shit. 22 working 60 hours. Fuck me. Well, at least you're putting a shift in. Online killer. Like I said, I look on the bright side. I like work. Keeps you fit, keeps you motivated. Good for your mind, good for your biceps. But like I said, it's getting to the point where I'm teetering like a seesaw. I'm willing to keep getting the piss stuck out of me. You have to bear in mind it will be more negative for you to just quit and do fuck all. Not just from a personal level, you'll have to cut back on things you enjoy and you'll be skinned, but it'll be bad for your brain and bad for your body. I'm willing to carry on for now, but I'm just saying it's getting to the point where I'm like, fuck me. It's really straightforward to me. We're getting to a tipping point, and people have had enough. But I wouldn't recommend rapping. It's good for you going to work. Really, you have to take the high road, don't you? It is good going to work. You don't want to turn into Mick Philpott, do you? You don't want to just be making a living by bumming, because he was a fanny rat, wasn't he? Professional fanny rat. The other thing with people like Mick Philpott is you ruin your kid's life as well. Like, because scum begets scum begets scum. Like, there's people I know in Borough, town of Chavs, right? Middlesbrough is Chav Central. There's not a bloke in Middlesbrough who's not friends with a couple of Chavs who will do. I mean, some of my best pals, one of my best mates, Wesley, his sister, does less work than the ship's cat. She's never done a fucking day's work because she's Borough through and through. And these people go from cradle to grave without ever working. And the kids do the same. And they're all grandparents by the time they're 40. Because they do nout, and the kids do nout, and the grandkids do nout. So it's not a good solution. I'm just saying I can see myself in a few years if this path continues. I've just gone, you know what, fuck you. You're giving everybody else money to sit on their ass all day. I'm very tempted to join in. But no, I don't advocate doing that quite yet, because it'll be bad for you in the long run. Oh yeah, there was some good news. I can't really talk about it much. I'll have to make a Rumble video. I'll try and do an edited version using allegory and thinly veiled references. Right. Essentially, let me put Twitter on because I did talk about it on there. Essentially, every conspiracy theory for the last couple of years has gone the way that we said it was going to go. Everything. And all they do is lie. I'll reel off some of the ones we all know will be true just right now, just off the top of my head, right? Don't have to click on anything. So, like, the Orange God said the Wu flu came from you know where, you know why, and it did. Turns out it did, right? He said that foreskin face Fauci was lying about it. Turns out he was. He was emailing his mate on the same day. He went on telly and said, "Oh no, Senator Paul, oh, he's such a liar." And then the same day he was doing that, he was emailing his mates going, "Fuck me, we're in the shit here, lads." You know what I mean? It was like he knew. So that was true. Kyle Rittenhouse, they called him a racist murderer, right? Even though everybody who he shot was white. Yeah, the shittest racist ever, didn't he? They specifically called him a racist murderer. And the only people he shot were white men. You couldn't make that up. So there's 5. Blatantly, everything we said was true and everything they said was lies. So, yeah, full iron your tinfoil hats and put them fucking on proudly because we were right and they were wrong. January 6th, I had massive arguments with my mother-in-law about January 6th. I said to her, come on, it wasn't that. It was basically like a riot, right? It was nothing like as bad as they made out. Turns out I was understating it. It wasn't even a riot. It was like, it was a bloke getting escorted around the fucking premises by a load of coppers. In fact, I will show you that because I shared a funny meme about it. Yeah, look at this one. When you rock up at the Capitol building in a face paint and a buffalo hat. Those of you on my Twitter will have seen it. Look at this. Hey, look, when you show up the Capitol building in face paint and a buffalo hat. Yeah, that's quality, isn't it? I love that. So It's basically everything that we said all along. There's what, 7? I'm losing track. Everything that the Orange God said turned out to be true. The CIA's bent, the FBI's bent, the judiciary's bent, Silicon Valley's bent, YouTube's bent, Google's bent, Twitter was bent, and then a billionaire bought it by sheer good fortune and leaked all them documents, and now we know how bent they all are. The police are bent, the College of Policing are bent, Channel 4, BBC, Sky News, the Daily Mail, the fucking Houses of Parliament, the House of Lords, everything is bent as a £7 note. And everybody knows it. And now we've all been proved right. And all of a sudden, they just want to crack on as if nothing's happened and pretend, just carry on, just talk about the day's news, the day, like nothing happened. Surely Trump is going to smash it in 2024. I just, unless they just cheat, unless, I mean, heaven knows they wouldn't do such a thing. I don't see how we can lose at this point, because there must be like 50 million people that were like, can't really get behind him. And now they know that everything's lies. They said he said inject bleach. He didn't. They said he said go and cause a riot, and he didn't. He actually went on, he's on video saying peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. They said everything they said about him was lies. And now it's been proved that it was lies. And it was caused, as usual, like I keep saying, because of the short-termist outlook of the lunatics. Justin Trudeau and them, there's another good example. They bring things in because they go, oh, this will help us. This will help us. And they're not thinking of the short and the long term. So they did it again there. They went short term, short term, short term. Biden has to win, has to win, has to win. Lie about the election, lie about the laptop, lie about the Russians, lie about Rittenhouse, lie about the Covington kids, lie about Fauci, lie about the virus, lie about the vaccine, lie, and then gets to 2024 and they'll go, oops, because they don't think of the big fucking picture. So the fuck now, I don't see how we can lose, me, unless they just drop the pretense and burn us all. But do you know what I'm saying? You just look at this twat. Right. So 2 things. Trip hasn't been watching for long. First of all, I didn't vote for Brexit, which everybody watching this channel knows. I didn't vote for Brexit. I only became a Brexiteer because of this thing called principle, right? You might have heard of it. Principle is when, even if you didn't vote for something, if after it happens, the people that are paid by you to enact your will do the exact opposite, it makes you very, very, very angry. So I didn't vote for Brexit. I turned into a Brexiteer out of principle. Google the word, because you probably don't know what it means. So I didn't vote for Brexit. Thanks. And just because the woke run the world, therefore it failed, is irrelevant, because at no point, no part of the platform was get Brexit, have much more immigration. Plus, that's not the point you think it is, because you said the whole thing was about being racist, and since we've done it, we've got more immigrants, because people were saying we should get immigrants from other places, not Europe, but we have a procedure for vetting them, and we actually choose who we get, and we get more reliable people. So even that's not really an argument, is it? Because it wasn't all about immigration. It wasn't. It was about sovereignty. It was about being able to sack your leaders. March into the town hall and say to your leaders, you're a bunch of cunts and you're not doing your job properly. And when you're in the EU, you can't do it. So anyway, there's no points there. Just because they've purposely fucked it up to try and get us back in the EU doesn't invalidate the point of Brexit, which is to return sovereignty to the people that live in Britain. And it certainly doesn't invalidate the idea that principle is a thing. And there was a referendum and Remain lost. So therefore, anybody with principle should be a fucking Brexiteer, including, and I'm sure there are millions of them, millions of people that voted Remain. Principled Remainers accepted the result of the election. And that's obvious. Tomo's been aware of this since the 70s. Well, Tomo, you old bastard, I apologise. I wasn't around then. But I'm sure I would feel the same if I was as old as you. So that's why we're in the shit, boys and girls, because nobody has any principles anymore. But I think 2024 has got to be a shoo-in when the truth shall set you free. And the last couple of years has just fucking... Oh, did you see this twat here? Look at this. This is Kate at one of the Golden Bell End churches. Look at this. Necky bastard. I can't make it any bigger. Tell you what, I'm not even a hardcore monarchist, but that is just common fucking courtesy. That makes me want to ring the RAF and get them to fucking drone strike the cunt. That is shocking. What a wanker. That's like common courtesy. If I met, who do I really, really, really hate? That fucking thick twat in charge of the Green Party, Caroline Lucas. If I met her in the street and she went, hello there, and tried to shake my hand, I'd shake her hand out with common fucking courtesy. I wouldn't say, oh, where have your fingers been, you mucky tart? Because I'm not a wanker. So that is just shocking, that. That proper makes me just like, right, give the fucking Taliban a week off and send Andy McNabb round his fucking house with an AK-47. Because that boils my piss, that. This is good, yeah. Lunacy on TikTok. All white people are evil. As I said, being a liberal
all of them are
chap, I don't see colour. I was raised in the 90s, so I don't see colour. But I do see, I'm talking about skin colour, obviously. I do see one colour, pink, when it's in hair. And all you need to know about this tart is, before you press play, you know she's going to be a fucking idiot because of the colour of her hair. So don't obsess about skin colour, obsess about hair colour. There's lots of black conservatives in the world, so you can't obsess about skin colour. But there is nobody with luminescent pink fucking hair and a coach bolt fired through the tongue and big daft fucking ears with holes in, with massive holes in, because this all the rage apparently. There's nobody who looks like that who isn't a fucking moron. So don't be obsessed about skin colour, but definitely worry about fucking hair colour. In fact, if they look like that, don't even press play, because you know it's an idiot. Shit, it's nearly 2. I'm going to have to go. I've got shit to do. I'm in a relationship with a plane and fly 3 times a year to spend time with my love. Still got a smaller carbon footprint than Greta. That's a good one, isn't it? Fly 30 times a year, still got a smaller carbon footprint than Greta, and probably got more sense than her as well. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to have to go, ladies and gents. I've had a lot of shit to do today, and I have to go back to work now and then come home and then go back again because people are off sick. How come I'm never off sick? I've been a civilian for years now, and I've still never had a sick day. I work for the council in York. I never had a sick day. There was blokes there who used to take 3 months off every fucking year. One of them, because they're too fair with like workers' rights and shit in England, every 6 or 7 months, he'd take 3 or 4 months off solid, saying he had depression or stress. Every year for about 4 years that I worked there, he did it every year. And on about the 5th time, he said, oh yeah, I need to go on the sit against stress. My wife's had a miscarriage. He used to say that because nobody wants to question you if you say something that's emotive, you know what I mean? And I was like, you've told me this 5 fucking times. Your wife's had more miscarriages than I've had hot dinners. If she keeps fucking miscarriaging this often, God does not want you to breed, you ugly cunt. So just stop fucking her. Just stop. Do the world a favour. Stop your radioactive mutant fucking genes from spreading. Anyway, do some work, you lazy bastards. That's my message for you. I've got to go back to work. Thanks for watching and listening. I will see you all. Don't even know when. When I've next got the time to do a stream, I'll do a stream. Hopefully before Monday. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm back. See you very soon. Cheers.